History's most terrifying minds aren't always loud. Sometimes they are quiet, patient. They watch from the shadows, collecting grievances like currency. Joseph Stalin mastered the art of silence. He didn't win power through charisma, no, but through the chilling weight of what he left unsaid. Welcome to today's episode. Welcome inside Joseph Stalin's mind. Chapter 1: A Forging in Pain. Joseph Stalin began life as Joseph Yugashvili, or Soso, to his mother. His world was small and brutal. His drunken father would often beat him. He had a left arm stunted by an accident, and he had a face scarred by smallpox. He grew up feeling marked, unsafe, lesser than others. He found refuge in two opposite worlds. The first, the strict hierarchy of the church seminary, and the second, the chaos of revolutionary street circles or gangs. One taught him how to manipulate the system, and the other one taught him that violence could make the world obey. Psychologists call this a trauma-shaped mind. When your first lesson is pain, you stop seeing the world as something to understand, and you start seeing it as something you have to control or even destroy. Dostoevsky once warned, to begin with unlimited freedom is to end with unlimited despotism. What he meant by this is that chaos breeds tyranny. Joseph Stalin lived the reverse. He was raised in despotism and he came to crave it. And later he tried to build it for the world. Chapter 2: Ideology as a Weapon. When Joseph Stalin joined the Bolsheviks, he wasn't like Trotsky. Trotsky was known as a brilliant orator. He was Koba, named after a Georgian outlaw. He robbed banks, ran extortion rackets, organized assassinations, all for the cause. But for Joseph Stalin, the cause was never the point. Ideology was just a weapon he used. His real faith was in power. While others debated Marxist theory, Stalin stayed silent, watching, observing, mapping who feared whom, who had secrets, who could be bent. To a paranoid mind, information isn't knowledge, it's ammunition. And Stalin was stockpiling it for a war nobody else even knew he was fighting. Chapter 2: Building a Web of Fear. When Joseph Stalin became General Secretary, it seemed boring at first. Lots of paperwork, committees, meetings, but it gave him control of appointments. And Joseph Stalin, he used this power as a scalpel. Slowly and silently, he placed loyalists everywhere until the entire state was a web. And he was the spider in its center. Lenin called him the gray blur. Everyone underestimated him, and that was exactly his greatest weapon. Psychologists call this the pattern of a malignant narcissist. Not just hungry for praise, but driven to erase every rival until they become the only reality. Chapter 3: The Cold Calculus of the Purge. Once Joseph Stalin took power, paranoia became state policy. The Great Purge wasn't just murder. It was psychological warfare on an entire population. People had to confess crimes they didn't commit, denounce their friends, And most importantly, trust no one. The goal wasn't obedience, the goal was isolation, to shatter every human bond, so that the only loyalty that was left was a loyalty to Stalin himself. The Gulag wasn't just a prison system, it was a human disposal machine. Cold, mechanical, treating people as renewable resource. Chapter 4: Erasing Reality. And then Joseph Stalin decided to rewrite reality itself. History books were rewritten, photographs were altered, enemies were literally cut out of existence. He even built a cult of personality that dwarfed religion, like Father of Nations and Shining Sun of Humanity. But behind all these posters, he was in fact a ghost. He spoke rarely to the public. He lived a hidden life. His movements were state secrets. Sociologist Max Weber noted that charisma feeds on distance. The less people see of a real person, the more they imagine a god. And a god doesn't need a personality, only fear and obedience. Chapter 6: Devoured from Within. In the final years of Joseph Stalin, the mask consumed the man. He saw enemies everywhere, even in his own doctors. He slept in a different room every night. He had conquered an empire, yet he was a prisoner inside his own skull. When he died of a stroke, his guards even waited hours to check because they were too terrified he might still be alive. Chapter 7: The Contagion of Emptiness. Stalin's mind offers a terrifying lesson. Stalin wasn't a supervillain, he was a void, a hollow core of paranoia, trauma, and an almost total absence of empathy. And he succeeded into pulling an entire world into that void with him. The horror of Joseph Stalin is not that one man could be so evil, but that millions in a moment of crisis could look at such a monster of a man and mistake pathology for strength. This was today's episode. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.